How does the environment here compare to what you've experienced, what you've heard of in the real world?
So that's an interesting question, but because before I came to HBS, I never identified as a woman. I worked in consulting and in many consulting firms, maybe less so in areas like finance, but at least in consulting, my anecdotal impression is that it's pretty much 50-50 the women and men at the lower levels of the organization. So I actually never really thought about this sort of thing before I came to HBS, and it really wasn't until I came here and became a minority for the first time in my life that I was like, huh, this is kind of weird. It, feels kind of uncomfortable. So I started to get really interested in the topic and the issues and what it means, and I think that during the first couple years of a career, when you are surrounded by equal numbers of men and women, it's easy to kind of just identify as a consultant or a banker or whatever you may be. But I know that what's waiting for me on the other side of business school is this massive inflection point at which I'm going to go back into consulting, and the women are not going to be nearly as numerous. And I think I've hit this point where before the topic of gender in the workplace never really came up, and now I know what's coming. I haven't yet experienced it fully, but I know I'm going to go back. My clients are going to be almost exclusively men. I'll work with primarily men, and I think it's because I'm reaching a point, I guess it's age, where a lot of women just start to do other things. And that is kind of what freaks me out, and that is why I became so engaged in the WSA here at HBS, because I need that support now and moving forward. And I know that, at least based on the stories I hear from older women who have graduated and gone on to build careers, that support network becomes more and more important, like exponentially over time, as you have fewer and fewer women at your peer level and above.
Right. So what compelled you then? You got more engaged with the WSA once you got here, of course. What compelled you to run for the leadership position? Why did you want to be the president or co-president?
I had been really involved my first year for the reasons that I mentioned, just sort of searching, understanding that there was actually really a problem and starting to search for answers. And then honestly, Deborah Singer, who's my co-president, she just propositioned me. We're section mates, we're really good friends. And to be honest, I had not considered running for the presidency. It just seemed like such a big role. I'd seen how active the WSA was on campus, how much they did, and I certainly got a lot out of it, but hadn't thought seriously about running. And it wasn't until someone that I respected so much and who I thought I could really learn a lot from, working with and sort of seeing how she went about, setting a vision and leading the organization. It really wasn't until she, did me the honor of asking if we'd like to kind of go into this together that I realized what an inspiring and learning experience it could be for me, and I said yes, and here we are.